What just happened?
I don't know. Well, I think that movie hits you at a deeper level than is comprehensible.
So, little backstory. A24 has released a lot of cool movies, and like Underneath the Skin was one of my favorite. They kind of take a genre and then they bend it a little bit. We just saw Hereditary. I saw it for the third time, and Peter saw it for the first time. The way I kind of think about it is, like, if I got some illness that I knew my friends wouldn't die from, but they could feel my pain and maybe, like, my emotions, a good person would be, don't see that. Don't take this pill. But I wanted Peter to take the pill because I respect Peter's opinion, and I wanted
him to suffer.
I kind of did. I wanted to see what you thought about it, and I also wanted to try not to do what I always do and be like, "This is so great," you know. So hopefully I didn't do that too much. I just was like, "You got to see this movie," and we just had a talk on the way out of the theater, which is really what just happened, and it just
what you just said kind of reminds me, like, I wanted him to feel this. And what did you want me to feel? Did you want me to experience something great, or do you also want me to feel something deep and painful as well?
I guess all of it. There's like a couple levels. I guess 3 levels. The cinematic quality of it. I know, like, the movies that when we dived into the auteurs from Kubrick to who's the
Von
Trier, but
and
the really long movies. It was your pick.
Do you remember any of the actors?
Yeah. Okay, so like Richard Gere's in the first one.
Oh, Terrence Malick.
Okay, so Terrence Malick, Stanley Kubrick, Lars von Trier. My wife picked Danny Boyle. Remember that first Danny Boyle with the 3 people?
Yeah, Charlotte Graves.
Yeah.
Is probably
So
his best.
all those directors, they did, like, they told a good story, but their craftsmanship was the key, like the foundation. And I thought this film, like,
Except for Danny Boyle, but
man,
those first 2 movies are great, but the other ones, dude, until Steve Jobs, they all were really mediocre. Well,
Slumdog Millionaire?
Okay,
Sunshine?
Sunshine just.
What about
fell
the 28
short.
Days Later? That was just, like, groundbreaking. But okay, let's just not
Maybe it's just the island or whatever that was.
let's not get off on the Danny Boyle tangent. But okay, so the Paramount thing is, like, even if you don't like the films, you don't like the actors, you don't like anything, you have to be like, what a great craftsman. And I thought this film was the same way. Like, let's say you don't like scary movies. Let's say you don't like to feel whatever. First and foremost, like, that opening shot of the treehouse swinging into where Toni Collette works on the miniatures, and then going in and you seeing.
It was the establishing shot was just of a tiny house, a miniature house,
Yeah.
and then it zooms into that
bedroom,
room, and then
yeah.
it actually turns out that you're in
that
Peter's
room. Yeah. And the weird thing is, you know, it's like, Peter, wake up. And at that point, like, especially the first time watching it, I'm like, Peter's just an ancillary character. He has nothing to do with it. But really, the story is all about him.
Is it?
I don't know.
I think it's
Spoilers.
I think it raises the question: what do we inherit? And it uses, and as I was saying in the theater, you know, the blues is 3 chords in the truth. This film uses that 1-4-5 of the horror genre. It uses all those tropes that we know, and even though you know something's coming, you still get tense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really effective, and it brings you in, and they use a lot of those conventions to bring you into this story. And I think the story is really just a medium for that question: what do we inherit? Like, how far back does it all go? And I think one of the best symbols in the movie is that house that's built on all these buried houses below it.
Yeah, and you never know what they never explain. It's just like this.
Because they're brilliant filmmakers.
Yeah, that was.
You don't want to explain.
I didn't even
everything.
see that until this time.
Because it's so inexplicable
Yeah.
to be a human at a certain level. It just doesn't make fucking sense.
It's almost like a cosmic accident. Like,
that we do things that we shouldn't do, but we still do it, even though we know full well it's going to be bad for us.
Yeah.
There's a limit to our understanding, and they brought that forth in this visceral way that I still can't fully appreciate or grasp it. But what do you inherit? Like, how far back does your genetic makeup go? Does it just keep going back to the Big Bang kind of a thing? How far back? And that idea of the sins of the father, and they brought in the Greek tragedy.
Yeah, they were talking about it in the class, and they were hinting at, are we all just
the play toys
the
of the
pawns?
gods?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't choose your family; you're thrown into existence, and you have to deal with that. And maybe Peter is the main character because he's thrown into that, and it does start with him.
Yeah, I've changed every time I watch it. I think because obviously Toni Collette's performance, I think, is so amazing that your first inclination would be to well, she's the main character because she's so emotive and stuff. But then you think about this, how she goes on this manic journey of trying to figure it out, but all the kid's trying to do is just survive and live. Peter, he's just trying to, and the husband, by the way, Gabriel Byrne, man, so subdued. And then when he breaks down in the car, man, you feel it so much. And just his whole arc of just playing the
nothing burger,
the Scully, oh Mulder, this isn't real, And at the end, when he still doesn't believe her after seeing the headless, that line, something more fantastic than the headless.
No, he actually was resolved to turn her
help,
in
and call the police,
lock her up.
Yeah.
He's like, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
I need to straitjacket her.
And then he went up in flames. That's what you get for
Hell hath no fury.
Oh my God. And we're all over the place. But this is the type of movie where after you're done seeing it, you can't strategically go through and be like, what did this mean? What did that mean? I mean, you could if you had a notepad or something, but the motion, I just recommend it. I think you should see it more than once for sure. There's little clues everywhere that I've seen on multiple viewings. The first time I saw Toni Collette when she has to be beheaded, which I guess is part of the ritual of the three
cleansing.
Daughters, or the three generations. The girl with her pole off, the one taken from the grandma at the grave, take a head
Queenly.
off. And then her, when she's doing this, I'm like, what is that? Is she hanging? But the establishing shot before, when he's coming down the stairs, they focus on this piano, and there's all these piano cables hang, and it's the type of thing where we don't need to zoom in on it like some cheesy movie to show you what.
Yeah.
You watch it again and maybe you'll pick it up. And that filmmaking is really only comes from first time, second time filmmakers, because they don't have
really sophisticated, talented people. Because the filmically it was far more sophisticated than most films you're gonna see.
Yeah, and it's almost like he just did it his way, and I just hope that this studio doesn't fuck with him on the next one. What are you gonna do for your next? You gotta get a double, like M. Night Shyamalan, that first film, Sixth Sense. Everyone was expecting. Coincidentally, Toni Collette's in Sixth Sense too.
Is she?
Yeah, weird, huh?
She made that movie so powerful.
Legitimate.
There were so many scenes where it was her acting ability that they didn't need special effects because her acting was so powerful.
What'd you think about one of the things that always bugged me about movies, the dream within a dream as a cheap thing? I thought it worked on that one, though.
Again, it's one of those conventions of the genre, and they were just suggesting that these issues there's an immaterial element to being human, and that is inexplicable. It's ineffable, and so it's a dream within a dream. It's suggestive. It's not definitive.
Yeah.
That's what good filmmaking is.
It was those lines that she gave in the second part of the dream within a dream about never wanting to have him, and how when she put her hand on her mouth like that, it's like she knew she had to say it. And maybe on just the story level, it was like, a way of her subconscious saying, you know, hey, my brother went insane, and he said mom was trying to put some, you know, subconsciously, I have to kill these children to save them from this fate that could be worse than death, being part of this demonic lord's plans or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they evoke Greek tragedy, but what's the moral of? I mean, Greek tragedy tends to have great moral to it.
What's the moral of this
quality,
film?
That human nature is far more complex. Is that the moral?
I think they were using the Greek tragedy thing to just play off the fact that we're puppets, we're pawns in a game. The pole that the little girl knocked her head had the symbol on it. The little things like that, you know, it's like this well orchestrated, like we have no, it's gonna happen eventually. The things that are gonna get you type thing. And as far as like the parallel of the Greek tragedy and what if this film should have, I don't think there is one. I think you leave this film just like the end of Rosemary's Baby with a feeling of, okay, Satan's son is born, and this one is this Paymon's come to Earth, and they stop it. There should never be a 2, by the way. That would suck. Don't ever make.
Well, I don't think this movie's doing that well in the box office for them to even think of that.
It's doing good. It's A24's biggest
Is it?
best so far. But you're right, it isn't. But I just hope they don't. That would be terrible. Yeah. Lord Paymon rules the world. He's still got a Band-Aid on his nose.
What would you do? Yeah, what would you? It would be if it was some other director or some writer.
Knocking on people's ears. So.
Oh, and that little girl's, the casting of her face was so interesting. It was such a good choice.
So I was really put off by her in the when the trailers, you know.
Oh,
and
of course, because she has it's strange face.
Yeah, and when I saw it the first time, I didn't like. I don't know how to because I saw the performance, but I'm all worried about the plot and whatever things. The second time I saw it, I'm like, you know what? She's like really subdued. She says the weirdest things at the right time and the weird cadence. Like, you could freeze up here. That's okay. It's like, the rules don't apply to me. You know?
Yeah. But she also sounded like, you know, a kid who suffers from autism or something.
Or Asperger's or something like that.
Some sort of mental issue that it was really good.
So you see how, like, you've seen Get Out, right?
No.
You haven't? So Get Out is also a horror film that's disguised, like, get into the theater, ha ha ha, and then you're like, oh, scratch your head. Same with this one. Obviously, 2 different messages and stuff, but I think it's real. I appreciate that these films are able to be seen because it seems like we're getting more of them like this. Did you see The Babadook?
Mm-mm.
So The Babadook's another one by A24 that the weight after seeing it feels the same as this. That's the only way I can describe it. It's not as good. This is maybe I like this one better because I just saw it 3 times, but I'm obsessed with this fucking movie.
I saw
Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson.
I haven't seen that. I saw the one with the guy who was in Twilight.
Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
Something about time. It was good. What else? What else is in? I haven't seen Lady Bird.
Well, we'll have a full list of A24 films.
Yeah.
Lady Bird was good.
But no, I think this film is really important because it does like those great Greek tragedies touch you at that mythic level where what you're experiencing, it resonates so deeply, and you've heard these stories before, but the truth of it is something that you understand without needing explanation. And all the associations that it brings out, I think, is evidence of that deeper resonance. I think when I see a film and it has that deep resonance, all of a sudden my mind just goes boom, 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 and all these associations like swirl around in some crazy maelstrom.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm getting close to something I could grasp, but it's like that's at some level that's what truth is like. It's that deeper resonance, but it's also that maelstrom because life is so complex and
chaos.
Being human is so complex, and that film uses those genre tropes or conventions, what do you want to call them, get at that inexplicable quality.
And in a way, it tricked a lot of people into seeing this film that wouldn't have, if they would have just said here's what this film will make you feel or whatever. People would go, yeah, no thanks, I don't want to go, you know. But by almost disguising it as a good time via the horror genre, I mean, I was telling Peter, the cinema score, which is something that when they walk out, a movie that what people expected to see usually gets an A, and that's good. A B is like, that probably won't get a sequel. A C is like, it's done. This was a D+. So you had a bunch of teenagers and 20-year-old people that went in going, oh, I can't wait for the latest thing, and they left feeling something different.
Damaged.
Yeah, really damaged, I think. I haven't really gone into like the reviews on like IMDb or anything, but I would like to see what some of the people say that give it a 2 or 3 out of 10, you know.
Yeah, well, most people aren't very sensitive to a lot of symbolism.
Even though advertisement and everything we have is symbolism, you know.
Or maybe you like you said, it did resonate deeply with everybody because it has that mythic quality, but it was confusing because it was not meeting their expectations.
But it was linear though, so it didn't do like the David Lynch thing where it's like, you're gonna have to watch this 20 times. It was still like a storyline, like here's where it starts, here's where it ends. You may be confused.
It does begin and end with Peter too,
yeah.
And it was all about. There was so much foreshadowing throughout the film. You know, it starts with where it ends. It shows you where it's going to end, and then it starts with Peter waking up, and he was in one of those tiny rooms.
Yeah, like in a almost a religious.
And it started with a funeral.
Yeah,
and then it ended with a sort of a rebirth,
awakening. Yeah. And
dude, there's so many layers to this movie.
What did you think about when the lady that was friends with Toni Collette's mother that ended up tricking her into doing Joan? Yeah, I like that actress, by the way. Everything she's in, she's kind of like creepy. And but what did you think when she said to Peter's body, she said, "Charlie, it's all right, you're Paimon"? Did you think that? When Charlie
was it Joan or was it Queen Lee?
No, Queen Lee was head cut off, laying down.
BT Dub's band name, Queen Lee.
Queen Lee, it's pretty cool. No, yeah, it was Joan. She said, "No, it's all right, Charlie. You're Paimon." So does that mean that when Toni Collette's character had Peter, she said, "I didn't want to let my mother near him." At all. There was a restraining order filed even. So the dad kept him away. And then, but when Charlie was born, she got her hooks in.
Because the
vessel should have been male.
Paimon was inside Charlie.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like even from the get-go or from...
It was a imperfect vessel for him. Gotcha. And he preferred male, the male form. Gotcha. And the male vessel.
So is Charlie... So when Charlie was walking around during the movie,
Peter, I mean, from the Bible, he's the founder of the church. So
you think there's symbolism in that name there?
Yeah, they're starting a new church, but a satanic church.
And I like.
Isn't that cool how there's so much you can read into it?
Yeah, I like the fact that they didn't use Lucifer or whatever, and they used like one of his underlings.
Because people probably put way too. That was the thing as we were getting towards the end, I felt like it was coming towards the main climax. It was ending soon. I thought, how are they going to end this? Because you have so many loose strings. How are you going to tie them all together? And I like the choice that they made.
Yeah, it's almost like they could have
pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
It felt cheesy to them.
One of the things that felt a little cheesy the first time I watched it was Toni Collette's headless body going up to the treehouse. But that's how she got in to the attic too, and it was kind of floating around, and I was all right with that. It was like, but logistically, how else would you get it there? There had to be like the 3 bodies.
Well, you had to. He had to get a sign. He had to get some signal to follow.
That's true.
He had just woken.
Been birthed, yeah.
Yeah, he'd just woken up. It's disorienting, and then you're gonna find out that you're king of all these subjects, and you're gonna be ruling.
Oh, one of the shots that was really Von Trier-ish was the the light around, the steady shot of the light around the whole house, and then it went dark, and all the little naked people were around the house, and it was all lit up. It's really subtle.
Oh, I remember. I think I know. Well,
they did that before, but the opposite way.
Yeah, the really harsh cut from day to night. Mm-hmm. Oh, there was naked people.
The second time, and when it went from day to night, the other time was from night to day. There was a ton of